Welcome to our lesson on parabolas. Parabolas are conic sections. Remember we were talking about circles when we were last together in March. And so parabolas are formed when a cone is intersected by a plane. You'll find the equation for a parabola. There are two forms of it, which we'll talk about in just a bit. But you'll find that in the same area of our formula sheet. It's in the top box on the back side of that pink formula sheet that I hope you took with you from school on the 13th. Looking at the different parts of a parabola. First of all, what is a parabola itself? The parabola is this blue curved set of points. It's actually the set of points that's equidistant from a focus and a directrix. And the distance between the focus and the vertex and the directrix is represented by the letter P. So that's a lot of words, and basically all it's saying is that any point on this blue curve, if you connected from that point to the focus, and then from that same point dropped it straight down to the directrix, the segments would be equal in length. You see there's one tick mark on this segment, one on here. Those match. So this point here on the blue is the same distance from the focus as it is from the directrix. Same holds for this point here, and any point on anywhere along the blue curve. So that's what defines a parabola. There's also a line of reflection, which can be referred to as the line of symmetry or the axis of symmetry. It cuts the parabola in half, and it is always perpendicular to the directrix. You can see that represented by our little right angle box here. So now let's take a look at the equations. This looks kind of messy, but it actually makes a lot of sense once you break it down. So parabolas can open in four possible directions. These first two open up and down. So we've got one parabola here on the left that opens up, the one on the right opens down. So the equation that we use when a parabola opens either up or down is x minus h quantity squared equals 4p times quantity y minus k. And if we take a look, there are actually some familiar things. If you remember from the equation of a circle, we talked about h and k. That was the center of the circle, right? H was the x-coordinate, k was the y-coordinate for the center of the circle. For a parabola, h and k are the coordinates of the vertex. We talked about the vertex in the previous slide. You can see it here as well. So it's the same as with a circle. If you want to find the x-coordinate of the vertex of your parabola, you cover the x and flip the sign of whatever's in the parentheses with the x. Do the same thing with the y, cover the y, flip the sign on whatever number is in the parentheses with the y, and that would give you the y-coordinate of your vertex. Okay? There is a 4 here in the equation. That is always there. Just like when we had the volume of a sphere formula that was 4/3 pi times r cubed, and that 4 over 3 was always, always, always there. In a parabola equation, the 4 is always, always, always there. It's not optional. Okay, and then we talked in the previous slide, we talked about P, right? That's the distance from the vertex to the focus. Also from the vertex to the directrix, it's the same distance. When that distance from the vertex to the focus is positive, then the parabola opens upwards. The way that we write mathematically that a number is positive is we say P is greater than 0. When P is less than 0, that means that P is negative. And in that case, the parabola would open down. Okay? So the most important thing to pay attention to before you even get started with all the P's and the H and the K is you want to look and see which variable, either the x or the y, has the exponent on it. You'll notice that in this case, only one does, right? With the circle, we had x squared and y squared. In this case, only one is going to be squared. When the x is the term that's squared, that means that it's going to open either up or down. Now, sometimes we get to work with a slightly simplified equation. When the vertex is at 0, 0, the h and the k drop out, and you end up with just x squared equals 4 times p times y. See, that's vertex is at 0, 0. That simplifies it quite a bit. You still have the p as a positive is connected to a parabola that opens upward. And when p is negative, the parabola is going to open down. Okay? That doesn't change no matter where the vertex is. Now, this equation is different. If you look carefully, you'll see that the y is the variable that is squared. The x quantity is not squared at all. So when the y is the quantity that's squared, the parabola opens either right or left. You'll notice that we still have the h and the k as the coordinates of our vertex, but it's important to notice that the h is still connected to the x and the k is still connected to the y. It doesn't matter that the y is on the left-hand side of the equation. To find the x coordinate of our vertex, you would cover the x and flip the sign of whatever number's in the parentheses with it. For the y, you would cover the y, flip the sign on whatever's in the parentheses, and that would give you the y coordinate of your vertex. So the h is connected to the x, the k is connected to the y. That does not change no matter what the order of the equation. And again, you have a 4, standard part of an equation of a parabola, and the p. So in this case, much like when p was positive in our previous equation, here we have p greater than 0, p is positive. So that this parabola is going to open always to the right. When p is less than 0, p is negative, parabola is always going to open to the left. And I just want to clarify, when I talk about the direction that the parabola opens, that means where is the focus? It's sort of like a mouth. If you guys know the video game Pac-Man, it looks kind of like a Pac-Man eating one of those little energy things. So it's opening to the right. This one here is opening to the left. Okay. And once again, we also have a simplified version when the vertex is at 0, 0. The h and the k fall out, and we end up with a simplified y squared equals 4 times p times x. And again, when p is greater than 0, when p is positive, parabola opens to the right. When p is less than 0, or it is negative, it opens to the left. That's all we have for now.